Okay, so for you today on Dave's Cooking Show, we have Sake Gorgonzola. And it's a real easy pasta dish to do. First thing you want to do is get a quarter cup of butter melting in a pan. Yes, very hard. Quarter cup of butter melting in a pan over about medium heat. Okay, now that our butter is all melted, it's time to add 2/3 of a cup of heavy cream and 2/3 of a cup of sake. If you're worried about the alcohol, don't worry about it. Alcohol cooks out at like 110, which is like, I think, less than what a cup of coffee runs. So that's why hot alcoholic beverages are a pain in the ass. And then you just want to let this get incorporated and simmer a bit. I'd say at least 3 minutes. And then we'll be ready to add the next ingredients. Okay, then it's time to add the gorgonzola. This is about a half a cup of gorgonzola. Usually what's in the little container you get at the grocery store is going to be about a half a cup. And then stir this around again. Medium-low heat. And this will take some time to melt. Gorgonzola, much like blue cheese, has a pretty high melting point. Oh, and also, don't forget at this point, it's decent enough time to add the salt and the pepper. Again, I usually add a little bit more pepper than I do salt, but, you know, do it to taste. Oh, and also don't forget to add 2 cloves of garlic that are minced. You can do this before or whenever. And last but not least, you want to add a little bit more than a tablespoon of basil and a little bit more than a tablespoon of parsley. Just eyeball it. And then you just want to stir this around and then leave it to simmer for a couple of minutes. By now, your pasta water should be on the stove. Again, just simmer this until you get the consistency that you want. You want it a little thinner, shave some minutes off. Want it a little thicker, obviously keep it on the stove a little bit longer. But the sauce is essentially done now. So, yeah, it's just a matter of how long you want to keep it on the fire. Now, this step is completely optional. But after a couple of minutes, I decided to add some chicken that I had cooked up, chopped up into little bite-sized pieces. This is completely optional. I added it myself. If you're a vegetarian, you can easily cut the chicken out. Okay, so as you can see here, our penne is done. I went with the 12-ounce box of thick and hearty penne. You can certainly do a pound if you want it. If you want the sauce spread a little bit thinner. I just like my pasta a little saucier. That's just me. And then you just want to give this a quick stir around, and we got one thing left to do. Of course, don't be an idiot like me. Grab a towel, because if you work on a gas stove, your handles will be 900 degrees. And then you want to grate in a couple of tablespoons worth of Parmesan cheese. Don't worry, the heat from the pasta will be more than enough to grind this up. And because I love cheese, I went, you know, obviously on the heavy side. So then give this a stir and we should be ready for serving. Look at that cheese disappear. Okay, last thing to do. Grab a bowl and ladle it up. And the only thing I did, and again, it's completely optional, is of course I dusted it with a generous amount of pepper. But again, I like pepper. You certainly don't have to. It works just as well on its own. So that's Sake Gorgonzola. Done.